Okay, let's get started with our messages for the week. Now we're going to be starting with Capricorn, and we're going to be reading for the week of August 16 to August 22nd. We'll get started with Capricorn. So let's see what messages are coming through for Capricorn for their week ahead. August 16 to the 22nd, bearing in mind that there is a full moon on August 22nd. Okay, Capricorns, let's see what's going on for you this week. All right, so we'll get this deck out of the way. There we go. Okay, Capricorns, it looks like you are needing to make some choices about where you're spending your time and energy, who you're spending your time and energy with, who, what, where, why, how, asking yourself these questions with respect to yourself and having to make some choices. And the only thing holding you back this week, it looks like, Capricorn, is your fear of the unfamiliar. Okay, those 8 cups no longer serve you, dear Capricorn. And so it's time to head off into that unfamiliar place. Now, you are leveling up, so it looks like you're starting to have conversations that are uncomfortable. Okay, so there are people that are challenging you and you're having to defend yourself, and it may feel uncomfortable, right? You might be thinking to yourself, wow, if I speak my truth, then the people in my life, are they still going to recognize me? Are they still going to love me? Are they still going to like me? Am I still going to be among their favorite? Very interesting. Capricorn, you know, this is a time where you need to decide what you want to create and what the perspective you hold is on the idea of things leaving your life, like relationships or certain experiences. You know, right now you're at a place, Capricorn, where you're not trusting the process entirely. So you might be thinking that, how could this be part of the process? How could these sacrifices be part of this? But you have to remember that, you know, we are the narrators and the choice makers when it comes to our lives, right? So every choice has, you know, there's the cause and effect aspect to it. So we technically put ourselves in this position willingly, this position of sacrifice here. Now this card is reversed. So Capricorn, your inner dialogue may be struggling a little bit to see how the things in your life right now, these challenges and unfamiliarity in the emotional realm, and there could be people in the external world looking at you funny, saying you've changed and who are you, and you know, stuff like that. Just some messaging coming from the external world. You might be starting to see this as loss. But trust me, dear Capricorn, this is redirection. You know, anything that leaves your space right now, we got the King of Cups on the bottom of the deck. Anything that leaves your life right now, Capricorn, in the sense of like a relationship ending or a job ending or, you know, an experience sort of closing out, you have to see these things as beginnings. Okay, Capricorn, I know that it's easier said than done, but really it's about understanding that beginnings begin with endings. Really, you know, it's hard to find that line between the end and the beginning, because it kind of merges. But you can certainly feel it when you're heading off into a new direction and suddenly there's resistance. There's people in your life saying, no, I don't accept that. And it's up to you, Capricorn, to make that final decision of, are you going to go for this new path that may have a lot less passengers? It might just be you and you're, you know, a pet or that one true blue friend that, you know, has never judged you and has always stood by you, kind of thing. It's interesting. Capricorns, you are going to be facing a situation where you're going to have to really have the confidence to go off into the unknown and face whatever choices come along the way. Okay, Capricorn? Now, you know, it's interesting. These choices are going to involve relationships, okay? And it seems that it's an unfamiliar dimension of emotion for you to see relationships in this way and make choices about relationships under this new lens that you seem to be evolving into, because you're definitely leveling up and you're starting to look for, you're starting to see, excuse me, that there are outcomes all around you showing you that you've changed. You know, you got that Judgment card in reverse, and it's almost like a part of you is sort of wondering, why me? But it's clear. And I don't mean to say that insensitively. It's just a matter of cause and effect. Certain things are consequences of certain other things, right? Every choice we make has a consequence. Every action we take has a consequence. The words we speak have consequences. The way we think, that internal narrative has a consequence. You know what I mean? Like everything has a result, right? And it's sort of like right now, all of these are in reverse, which says to me, you're super unclear about which path to take, whether or not the outcome is one that feels like it aligns with what you thought, and you're not even sure confidence-wise if you can take the steps necessary to go to the next level. So Capricorns right now are feeling the doubt and the faith and the challenge of this moment. Can I do it? Right? Will I be able to make the necessary choices? Will I be able to see through to my true self, regardless of what the external world has to say about it? This is the key, right? This is the key for you right now, Capricorn. And it's, you know, the people in your life see you as really dedicating yourself to yourself. You've taken that wand and you've turned it inwards to yourself. And so it's sort of like if there are experiences or relationships or people that don't feed your soul, you're not interested. And you're kind, but you know, it's not something that you're going to sacrifice for anymore. If things aren't in alignment with you, Capricorn, you're not involved anymore. And I almost feel like there's this, oh, there's the Devil card underneath. I almost feel like there's this resistance on your part to travel. There's a resistance on your part, Capricorn, to move from this space emotionally. You're like, no, I am dedicated to myself, and all of that external drama, I see it. And not only am I not getting involved in it, but I'm removing myself from it. So like the King of Cups, this energy is one when it's in the upright position where it can be in the emotional turbulence and not be too affected, right? But you're like, no, I am affected and I know I'm affected, so I'm going to remove myself from situations that impact me negatively. Or if I have decided what my self-worth is, I'm not putting myself in situations that diminish that. So good for you, Capricorn. And there's the Devil card right behind, which signifies Capricorn, but also signifies needing to be aware of who's driving the bus right now, the ego or the true self. Right? So Capricorns, this week ahead seems like you are going to be sort of moving in the direction of things that were brought into play for a while now. You're still moving through this timeline, and you're at the place in the timeline where you're leveling up to the next phase, if you will. And the name of this chapter is Facing External Scrutiny. Okay, so the external world is challenging you. There could be people specifically in your life that are challenging you. You've got to make some choices that are emotionally unfamiliar, maybe setting some boundaries, and not really focusing, hopefully, on this idea that you need external validation or recognition from the external world. Hopefully you can release that. It seems like you are working on your confidence. So you know, your inner guidance is going to be what gives you that confidence, not so much the external world. And so there you go, Capricorn. Let's get you an oracle card for your final message here. and we'll move on. But let's get a message here. Final card for Capricorn. I'm going to cut the deck for a final message here for Capricorn, heading into emotionally unfamiliar choices. But man, do you ever have your eye on yourself right now, Capricorn? This is great. You are really working on your confidence and choosing your next path forward. Oh yes, peace. You need it. You are looking for it. You are working to embody it. Inner peace. This is exactly the message to wrap up Capricorn's message for the week, is whatever gives you peace. Whatever gives you peace, Capricorn, you go for it. You know, don't worry about the external world's, you know, ideas or judgments of you. You just go for where the peace is. That's where you are going to feel the best this week. Right on. Okay, thank you, Capricorn. Let's keep those over here. Okay, let's move on to Aquarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week of August 16 to August 22nd. Those were lovely messages for Capricorn. Let's see what messages we have for Aquarius now. Sun, Moon, and Rising for Aquarius. Messages for the week, August 16th to the 22nd. Okay, Aquarius. Wow, similar energies here. Okay, Aquarius, let's have a look here for you. Wow, very similar energies here. We got the King of Wands on the bottom of the deck, guiding Aquarius's reading. Okay, so what I see here for you, Aquarius, is that you are trying to create something. You know, Aquarius has been creating and sort of deconstructing and creating something, you know, since the spring. And it seems like it's still moving for you, Aquarius, and it's being really driven by this transformation that you've undergone. There is an energy that has transformed you on an emotional level that's driving this creative energy in you. But it's, again, very similar to Capricorn. The obstacle is the external world. So the external people around you are filling you up with feelings that make you wonder if you're going to be able to be self-sufficient. So there may be people around you, Aquarius, that are suggesting that there's no way this will work out, or you can't do this alone, you need me. No, you know, these could be people that are suggesting to you, you know, sort of not to go for something, and it's at top of mind for you, and you're like sort of listening to them, and you're wondering, well, you know, if they don't think I can do it, then maybe I can't do it. And Aquarius, you know, I gotta say, I'm not sure what it is that you're trying to do, but you were certain of it in the recent past. Okay, King of Swords, that's you. Recent past, you were really sure that this was a good fit for you, and now it seems like you're doubting yourself, because I think because you're exhausted, and you're sort of tired of listening to everyone say what could go wrong. And you're like, you know what? I think this is going to be just fine. Everyone keeps trying to tell me that this is going to be a loss and it's going to be unsuccessful. Yeah. But you're like, no, I'm going for it, and it's going to be awesome. I'm going to have a turn of fortune. And, you know, it's true that for some reason the rest of the world is like, Aquarius is headed towards something that's not going to be entirely solid, you know? But you're like, I don't think so. I think it's going to be solid. And that's where you're sitting right now. Just like Capricorn. Should you go for it or not? Very interesting. So it's like Aquarius is sitting in a place right now, and you have Queen of Pentacles, which is Capricorn. Maybe you got a Capricorn on your mind. It's interesting. You are really trying to make a decision here. Do you go for it or not? Do you stay on the path that everyone keeps telling you, stay here, this is the path for you? Or do you go for the path that you keep thinking about, and the path that involves this new you, this new emotional you, right? is very interesting. Very interesting, Aquarius. You know, the final outcome appears to be that you can magically make things happen. You are like King Midas. Anything you touch turns to gold, Aquarius. So, you know, the King of Pentacles is a very strong Taurus energy. So think about a Taurus, very hardworking, dedicated, loyal, doesn't stop till the job gets done. And you are going to go for something big here. And you've got the King of Rods on the bottom of the deck. So the King of Wands on the bottom of the deck, which is Leo energy, which is also very, very capable and can change things in the external world based on inspiration. So Aquarius, my goodness, are you ever, and then following that King of Rods, we see the Seven of Cups, and you have the Seven of Pentacles as well. So it's all about choices right now for you, Aquarius. This is a week of choices. Are you going to go with what the external world expects of you, or are you going to go with what your transformed emotional self says? Do you know what I mean? This is a week of choices for you. For Aquarius, this is definitely a week of choices. And it's like in the recent past, you really came into a new version of yourself. I'm telling you, this Knight of Cups and King of Swords here really say to me that an emotional situation triggered a transformation. You were triggered to transform because of something that was emotional at first, but it transformed you and it changed your mind about something. You were able to shift mentally as a result. And that carried you into a situation now where, you know, you're sort of at a place where you've got it sort of lined up in your mind as to how you want to do it, and you're ready to close out the cycle so that you can start a new one. But there are some people in the external world telling you this isn't going to work. It's almost like, I kind of feel like saying to you, maybe you shouldn't be talking about it with a lot of people. Maybe you should, you know, they say don't tell people your next step, show it to them. So maybe that's some good words of encouragement for you, Aquarius, is that instead of talking about your vision with people and sort of depleting yourself of that energy, why not just do it and show people the results instead of seeking counsel and validation from the external world? Do you know what I mean? I know I fall into that a lot. You know, I will sometimes get so excited about something that I start talking about it prematurely with people, and then, you know, if they poo-poo it, or if they sort of judge it, you know, it sometimes can take the air out of your tires. Even if you're the most, you know, balanced person, it can be very, very discouraging, right? Because, you know, when you do place importance on what the external world thinks, you know, it ends up being emotionally triggering if you don't get support, right? Isn't that the case? Okay, so let's see here. Let's see here. What are the guiding words for Aquarius for the week? Chop wood. So to me, chop wood is always a card where it's time to get ready. It's time to get ready, my dear Aquarius, and to prepare for this shift that you're undergoing and these changes that you are going to see presenting themselves to you this week. So, you know, with the options available and the direction to choose, it's really a time to prepare. This card always reminds me of preparing for someone to come back to their house after you threw a party. It's time to get the house cleaned up because it's a new, you know, it's new. We got to refresh the whole situation here, and you got to prepare. Preparation is key in this chop wood card. So I think it's time to really focus on you deciding what you want to do without worrying too much about what the external world will think, Aquarius, because that is holding you back this week. You know, it seems like that is holding you back this week. So it's an important week to just focus on what it is you're trying to create and to wrap up this chapter. You know what I mean? To wrap up the current chapter so that you can start the next one without worrying too much about what the external world thinks. And, you know, you don't really have to talk to anybody about it. You can keep this close to the chest, because it's a new dimension of emotion for you. You are experiencing a new dimension of emotion. So, you know, it might not be time to talk about it. Just experience it. Yeah? Okay, Aquarius. Very interesting messages for you this week. Okay, let's move on to Pisces. See what messages we have for Pisces for the upcoming week of August 16 to the 22nd. I can't even believe we're heading into August, that today is August 15. It's already the middle of August. That's wild. Okay, so let's see what messages we have for Pisces, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Oops. For the upcoming week. Okay, Pisces. Okay. Oh boy. Holy moly, Pisces. What's going on? Okay, Pisces, we've got the Seven of Swords in reverse at the bottom of your deck. Okay, Pisces, it looks like right now you are focused on having your emotional needs be met in the most ideal way. You're imagining it, but you don't think you're challenged to see the how. Okay, it's like you know what the what is. You know what your what is. You know what you want. You know why you want it, but you're struggling to understand how it's going to happen. Okay, and it's interesting. The reason you're struggling to understand the how is because the how isn't really any of your business yet. Okay, the how is with the universe. That the universe is going to take care of the how. The more you try to be the leader of the how, the more you try to force the how, the more you try to be in charge and have authority over how something happens, the less likely you're going to be able to see it in front of your eyes. Okay, and I say that because you're transforming. You're entering into a new aspect of yourself, and you're trying to understand it instead of experience it. Okay? You're trying to understand it instead of just experiencing it. Your intuition knows what's going on. There may be things that are just coming through to you on like an intuitive level, through the divine connection, through a psychic connection, right? Through your intuition. But it's not clear to you in a physical, on this realm. It's not physical yet. You can't see it with your eyeballs yet. And so you don't understand. You don't understand. And as a result, you've been sort of resisting this. I imagine you like, you know, on a, it's like you're on a bicycle or something and you're putting your heels in the dirt to brake. That's what I keep seeing in my head, is that you're trying to make it go in the direction you want it to go, and when it doesn't go that way, it's like you're resisting it physically. You're putting your heels in the ground, like digging through the dirt, and it's like you could fall. This isn't the way to try to direct things. Does that make sense? Like it's like you're trying to overly have physical action on something that you are naturally being guided towards. Pisces, you are going to be guided towards this, and all you can think about right now is wanting to know the truth. You want to know the truth about what's going on here, and as a result of knowing that truth, or wanting to know that truth, the seeking of that truth, if you will, it's sort of like the wanting of knowledge is becoming the point, not the knowledge. So it's like the wanting becomes an impediment, and it's like, wow, this is a really powerful reading right now. And the wind is blowing. Did you? Oh, the wind is everywhere. Did you guys see that? Oh, goodness. I remember where the cards were, but still. Very powerful reading from Spirit here for Pisces. I'm going to shut the window. Pisces is having a week, you guys. This is no joke. Okay, there, the cards looked like this. That was intense. Okay, thank you, Mother Nature, for reminding us of your presence. Yeah, and I was looking at the Tower card as that gust of wind came in. So, it's almost like knowing the truth is you're seeking the truth right now. Okay, you are seeking it out. You want to know these universal truths. You want to know the meaning of your life. You're trying to understand your soul path. You're looking at your intuition, and you're trying to look at all of this energy, you guys. Like, you got the Tower in reverse, the High Priestess, and the Hierophant. So it's like you are in the midst of trying to understand some big things. Right? Some huge truths, some universal truths. The whole, you could be seeking out the knowledge of who you are, right? And then the Tower in reverse in the position that it's in really suggests that you're so afraid to find out these truths. You're seeking them, and you're like fearful of what they could mean, right? Because you feel it. You know this is leading to a rebirth. And that the Wheel of Fortune is here, and you're resisting it, but it's trying to bring you to the next phase, and in a fortuitous way. But all you can focus on is losses. You're just looking at emotional losses from the end of this chapter. Okay, Pisces, you're focusing so much on the end of this chapter that you're missing all of this action. Holy moly, there's a lot of action in your reading. It's really interesting. You are, the rest of the world sees it too. It's like you're trying to work something that's not workable. It's not physical, it's spiritual. So there isn't an amount of effort that you can have. It's almost like you need to release that effort. You need to release that effort that you keep trying to control with, and you keep trying to be an authority figure with. This isn't going to help you. You're actually blocking the energy that would be your greatest wish. And you're doing that by imagining all of these things that could go wrong instead of could go right. You know what I mean? Like, it's very interesting. I just shut the window. That was really funny when the cards went flying like that. I see that authenticity is a big deal. You're like, I have to be in control of this in order to be authentic. Well, really, do you? Sometimes releasing control is the most authentic thing you can do, by just going with your intuition. What feels right on this level, and by accepting the things that have done their job. That's it. Those cups served their purpose. You have two more here, so you don't need to focus on the losses here. That's the Tower that we see right here falling into the ocean, and it's the way it's positioned. It suggests that you don't want to face the truths that you're seeking because you're afraid of what it will mean. That's very interesting, Pisces. It's going to mean that you're experiencing a rebirth. That's what it means. Pisces, like you're going through a change, a life change, a big one, I would think, because of all of the major arcana on the table here. You got the Hierophant, the Tower, you've got the Emperor, the Wheel of Fortune, and the Death card, and the High Priestess. And everything else is cups and swords and pentacles. So it's like you're in your head and your heart, and you're trying to do something with effort, and yet effort could be the thing that's actually creating all the resistance. You just need to let go. You need to let go instead of thinking that more effort is the answer. Do you know what I mean by that? Very interesting. Wow, Pisces. That's intense. And that wind blowing. That was really interesting. Okay, Pisces, let's get you an oracle card to close off your messages for the week. as you're seeking truth and trying to overexert effort instead of just allowing all of this energy in, and sort of allowing things to leave as they need to, because they don't serve you. If they're leaving, they don't serve you. Okay, Pisces. Soulmates. Yes, soulmates is an interesting card. It doesn't just mean what we think of when we think of soulmates. It also means connections that are fated, destined connections, connections that are pre-arranged and that will always serve your greater good. Okay, so that is interesting. I think Pisces, sun, moon, and rising is experiencing stuff this week that involves, you know, potential needing to let go, needing to just accept things and let go, and that, believe it or not, too much effort might be the worst idea this week. It's not the week to be pushing things. It's not the week to be demanding a lot from yourself. It's not the week to be trying to force things into the framework that you are attached to. It's the week to let go of all of that, Pisces. It is a week for you to let go of that and to trust in divine timing and prearrangements that are going to serve you at the time that they need to serve you, if that makes sense. So it's really a week for Pisces to let go. Let go, Pisces. Stop trying to control everything. Controlling it's not going to serve you this week, Pisces. Wow, interesting. This is intense. Okay, that was awesome. If you were here when the cards blew over, I shut the window so we don't have that happen again. Okay, let's move on to Aries. Aries, sun, moon, and rising for the week of August 16 to 22. Bearing in mind, there is a full moon on August the 22nd in Aquarius again. Last time we had a full moon, it was in Aquarius as well. So, let's find out what messages we have for Aries, sun, moon, and rising for Aries for their upcoming week. Okay. Okay, Aries. Okay, and we've got the Ace of Pentacles, beautiful, on the bottom of the deck. Okay, Aries, what I can see here for you is that right now you're at a time where you appear to be waiting for something instead of making it happen. And you're not making it happen because you don't believe in yourself. I'm hitting you hard here with the messages, no sugarcoating. But the cards are... This is very interesting. This arrangement and this feeling is saying that instead of really focusing on what your imagination is telling you, you are looking into the external world and saying, I'm not getting what I want, and life isn't fair, right? And you're very difficult to convince right now, Aries. You're very difficult to convince right now because you don't, at the end of the day, you don't believe you are enough, and you don't believe that you have enough, and that the world isn't enough. It's like you're at a place right now where you're saying that it's in the external world is showing it to you, but you don't realize that it's because you see the world that way because of your perspective about the world. You know, your perspective of the world is that there's scarcity, that there isn't enough for everyone, and that I need to fight for what I want. I can't just rely on my imagination. And yes, you can, but you don't think so. You don't believe so. You don't know so. So all those levels are keeping you in a place where you just keep getting news and outcomes and endings that don't seem like they are in line, and you keep thinking, why is this happening? Well, it's happening because of the perspective you hold. It's having a very impactful like your perception of the situation is having a very impactful impact on how you see things. right? And the interesting thing is that you're not allowing other perspectives in right now. You're not. You're like, no, it's this way. These are the standards. These are the ideals I hold. And if it doesn't match with that, then it's not okay, right? And it's sort of like, well, how are we going to change your mind about this then? How can we change your mind when you're so cutthroat about your ideals right now, so fixed? This Queen of Swords is a Libra. Libras are very sure most of the time, but indecision plagues them beneath that surface, right? But when you meet a Libra, you know, you don't often catch a Libra saying, I don't know what to do. They usually have it like, it's hard to convince a Libra to do something different than what they have already planned. But deep down inside, there's probably no one who has more sense of an indecision vibe. So that's the energy that's in the most present in your mind right now, is this indecisive yet seemingly very confident version of yourself. And yet, what are you so confident about? You keep telling yourself you're not enough. That's what you're saying so confidently to yourself, which is creating a vibe where you're not, you know, you're just not feeling like you can be certain of anything. You feel so anxious and you feel so unsure of which way to go, because you've sort of been avoiding these outcomes, haven't you? In the recent past, you've been avoiding certain outcomes and consequences because you're like, this is going to lead to my worst nightmare. So I'm going to just avoid this for as long as possible so that I don't have to face it. And it's interesting because in the upcoming future, it's like you're going to keep things closer to your chest. It's like you're going to avoid talking about things. You're going to avoid gossip. You're going to avoid things that seem petty. You're going to have more of a renewed perspective about the way you want to proceed, but you're going to kind of keep it close to your chest, which is not a bad thing. It's I was just saying that I think it was for Aquarius or Capricorn that you know, sometimes you don't have to, you can show people your steps rather than talking about what you want to do. You can just show people. And so this is very interesting, Aries. I think you're heading into a time right now where your biggest concern is going to be relationships and direction choices. You're very concerned about some relationships right now, Aries, and you're also unsure about which path to head down to initialize your new direction, right? And it's tricky because there's definitely a new direction. You got that Ace of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck, which says that there is an invitation here from Spirit to start something new, and it's up to you if you take it. Now, right now, you're sitting in a place where you don't think you deserve it and that you're not enough. And so one of these orbs could definitely, one of these pentacles, excuse me, could definitely be, I'm not good enough, I am good enough. You've got opposing forces on the mind, you know, and this is limiting you. This belief that the world's not enough, that you're not enough, that nothing's enough, that there, you know, if I spend the dollar that I have today, then I will never get that dollar back. Instead of believing if you spend that dollar today, you will get back times 10. You know what I mean? Like it's your perspective has you feeling like the world is against you. Your perspective is playing tricks on you, right? And yet you are so sure that you're correct. You feel so certain that you're correct. And yet here's this Eight of Wands and this Eight of Swords. Pisces had 7s, you've got 8s. So that says that you're so close to understanding the truth. You're so close to understanding the truth about your imagination, and you're so close to just going for it if you would just believe in yourself. But there's a part of you that just lacks that belief, and you're worried about relationships and direction this week. But there is a brand new direction ahead. Spirit is inviting you with this auspicious Ace of Pentacles to say, hey, you want a new start? Let's do it. Just change your belief system. Change this. Stop not thinking, stop thinking you're not enough. Ooh, there was a noise outside. Okay, Aries, that is overwhelming energy of your reading. And the external world seems to feel like you're not healing things. You're not giving yourself distance from things that require distance. That you're not mentally giving yourself distance from the things that you need to heal from. So that means to me that you're overthinking things. You are overthinking things and not giving yourself a break. You need a respite from overthinking, my dear Aries, okay? It's time to stop overthinking and to heal from something. Just get some distance from it. Stop thinking about it so much. Stop thinking about it so much, because you're staying up all night tying these ropes around your wrist, making the situation inescapable, when really it's not as mentally scary as you've made it out to be. It's just a matter of picking. Do you believe in yourself or do you not believe in yourself? Do you believe you're enough or do you believe you're not enough? You know what I mean? And that will take you down the road. I think you just need to be more flexible mentally. More mental flexibility, so that you're not thinking about this so much, and stop talking about it with everyone. Stop looking for the world to tell you or validate you. Yeah, it's more like you're looking for the world to validate you instead of just having your own perspective. Keep this close to the chest and have your own perspective about it, and just go for it. Know the truth about yourself, Aries, that you can do anything. You can do anything. And it's really just, it's up to you. It's up to you. Very interesting reading so far this week, you guys. Okay, let's get Aries an oracle card. Let's shuffle them up. And we'll cut the deck and get one message for Aries for their week ahead, where it looks like Aries is having a week of some self-doubt. You don't believe in your ability to do this new chapter. You don't believe in your ability to believe in yourself and to believe in your imagination. Instead, you're overthinking and fearing outcomes. Be flexible. Yes. Didn't I say that? You need to be a little bit more flexible and less, so like that Queen of Swords, right? Like you just need to be more mentally flexible this week, Aries. Yeah. And stop thinking about it so much. Just be flexible, right? Allow yourself to oscillate as life sort of pushes you around a little bit, you know? Don't be so sure you can't do it. Are you sure you can't do it? Be flexible. You might be able to do it. I think you can do anything. You're an Aries, for God's sakes, right? Stop thinking you're not enough. This is not nice of you to think about yourself that way. Of course you're enough. Why aren't you enough? That you can't be so attached to the idea that you're not enough, Aries. Be flexible. Believe you're enough. Okay? I'm being bossy now. Sorry. But you're overthinking this. You're overthinking it. Okay, I'll stop. All right, Aries, please believe in yourself and be flexible. Be flexible. Okay, next. Who's next? Taurus is next. Okay, let's see what's going on for our Taurus friends for their upcoming week. Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's see what's going on for Taurus. What guidance do we have for Taurus, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week of August 16 to the 22nd? More confidence issues. More, I don't feel like I'm enough. Oh, you guys saw me shuffling. Lots of similar cards here. Okay, let's have a look for Taurus. The World at the bottom of the deck. You're changing. You're entering a new chapter, Taurus. Okay, let's have a look here. So Taurus doesn't feel this week that they have the confidence or the strength to heal from something that really sort of force them to remove their mask and be like, okay, this is who I am. This is the authentic me world. And it's sort of like, you're like, no, I can't do that. What? I'm not doing that. This lady's crazy. I'm not doing that. But you're at the end of a chapter. You're totally at the end of a chapter here. And it's time to do that. It's time. It's time. You're starting something brand new. Page of Pentacles and the World on the bottom of the deck. Okay? You're starting something new. So what do we do when we start a new chapter? We have to heal from the last one. And you don't want to. There's the Six of Swords in reverse. No thank you to healing. I am not capable of healing from this, is what you keep saying to yourself. Very interesting, Taurus. You keep telling yourself you're not capable of healing from something. Sure you are. Why? You just need to find the right modality of healing. And you need to be open to the healing, right? But something happened that really, really showed you a side of yourself that... it's almost like this side of yourself, this is a Capricorn energy. It showed you the mask you wear and you didn't like what you saw. It showed you the mask that you're done wearing. You're done. You're finished wearing this mask. The cycle is over. The World card is here. The Page of Pentacles is here. You're finished with something here, Taurus. You are all done with something and it's time to move on to the new thing, but you don't think you're enough. And you're overthinking it, just like Aries. You're overthinking it and doubting yourself and thinking you can't do it, you're not enough, I'm not strong enough. The inner dialogues here are really astounding. And you know what's interesting, you guys, whoever's listening to this, you know, you might think that it's just your sun, moon, or rising, or Venus. Like when you look at your astrological chart, we have placements in so many of the signs. So, you know, it's almost helpful to listen to all the signs, because if you have your chart in front of you, you can see where your placements are. And it's just interesting to see the connections between, you know, even just the 4 readings we just did with this one. It's very interesting. It's like, it's a time on a collective level where we're transforming, and everyone is facing different aspects of that transformation in different elements of and aspects of themselves, you know, the emotional, the mental, the spiritual, and the physical. And for Taurus right now, I'm feeling overwhelmed with the fact that you really, down to your belief and what you know about yourself, you're saying, I can't do it. And that needs a big solar plex adjustment here. Something needs to be cleared, because you're holding yourself back from this thing that's changing in your life, right? This is changing. You're finished. You finished something. You finished something. And yes, you're tired. And yes, you're exhausted. This 10 of Wands says so. And yes, you're like, I can't go on. I can't possibly start a new chapter already. So take a break. Take a break. You don't have to start it tonight just because you can sense that one chapter is finishing. Why don't you get some mental distance from the whole thing, maybe some physical distance, and recharge. Recharge. Recharge here with this Page of Swords that's like, hey, we're going to start something new. And you're like, mentally, no thanks. And he's like, oh, but come on. I'm sending you a gift. Let's develop and evolve again. And you're like, I can't evolve again. I'm tired. I just finished evolving my butt off. And look I still got to carry all this action home, right? And I'm all by myself, as you can see, because, you know, I'm a Taurus. And I do things by myself until they're done to my satisfaction. And so you need to take a little pause, little pauseroo, and recharge. My goodness, Taurus, you need a break. You need a break from being so intense and develop the tasks of ordinary life again. Start going to bed early, get some rest, eat good food, don't watch too much screen time, you know, get out into nature, start start an exercise regime so that you can focus on your breath in a way that's not too woo-woo, you know what I mean? Like, or start down the woo-woo. Go get some meditation practice, you know, get a Reiki treatment, get yourself cleared up so that you're ready for this next phase, okay? Don't put pressure on yourself to start it tomorrow. Just start being mindful of the acts of daily living again, okay? And don't be afraid to be connected to your vision. You don't have to do it tomorrow. I think you need to take a break from this last chapter that just ended, because it looks like it was a doozy, as they are. And it's just time to take a little break here. You don't have to just say, stay away from saying, I'm never doing that again. I will never do that. You just need a little rest. I feel like saying to Taurus, have a little rest, and then let's talk about this again. So your goal this week, Taurus, is to rest and to focus on getting some distance from whatever is on your mind that is not serving you, and to rest from the end of this, okay? And to stop overthinking this. Stop overthinking. Just have a relaxing week. Try to wrap things up, but almost schedule it into your week, Taurus, that you're going to relax and not worry about or overthink or fear the next chapter, and to certainly focus on that inner narrative, that narrative that says you're not strong enough and that you're not enough. So the confidence needs a boost. You know, if it resonates for you, I would get some yellow clothes, I would get some yellow candles, I would eat yellow food, I would surround myself in a yellow atmosphere so that I could enhance my solar plex. You can put your hands sort of above your navel and do some breathing exercises to put in some positive intention into your solar plex and clear it. Focus on what your I can statements are this week, Taurus. Not I can't, I can. Okay? And I like to nourish my chakras through color, in my food, in my environment, in the crystals I hold in my pockets. So you need yellow, yellow, yellow. We need, get some citrine, eat some yellow foods, maybe get some squash. I don't know. You need to work on this confidence and this belief about yourself, this narrative that says I'm done. You're not done. You need a break. You can just say, I am finishing a chapter, so I need a rest. You need a little break in between. That's all. But you can keep going. You can. Careful what you're saying to yourself, though. My goodness. Watch this inner dialogue. This inner dialogue is dangerous right now. It's really saying that you're done and that you won't be able to start again. I think you will be able to start again, Taurus, as long as you believe so. Okay, let's get a card from the Oracle deck for Taurus. We're going to cut the deck for Taurus's final message in this reading. Okay. Poised. So you are poised for a new chapter. You are poised for something big. You are like at the cusp of it. Didn't I say that in this reading? Like it's like you're at the tippy toes of something new, and it's all divinely timed, Taurus. I know you're tired. I know this card tells me how tired you are, but I also can see that the inner dialogue isn't one of we did it. It's I'm exhausted, right? It's not of woohoo, I can do anything because I finished this. It's all about perspective at this point. It is a perspective shift that is required because you are poised for greatness. You're poised for whatever you want to be poised for, excuse me. Very interesting, Taurus. You're next, and like with that World card, I mean, you really are poised. You are poised for a new chapter. So it's, and this Page of Pentacles at the final card in your reading. So I really think it's time to focus on that personal power center and get that confidence boosted up again, Taurus. You're a Taurus. You can do anything. And I feel like maybe you may have forgotten that this week. So let's remind you. Okay, now let's move on to Gemini, our second air sign of the day. Gemini, Sun, Moon, and Rising for their upcoming week, August 16 to 22nd. Okay, Gemini. Okay, let's see what's going on here. Okay, Gemini, got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse on the bottom of your deck here. Now, Gemini, let's look here for you. Your imagination is being challenged by your level of needing self-care. Okay, so this week is about self-care for you. Gemini, you need to take care of yourself in a way that you've maybe been neglecting in the recent times. You might not be taking enough time for rest, reflection, and sort of getting away from the external world. You almost need to turn your phone off, get away from the screen time. Don't worry too much about how many likes you're getting and stuff like that. Okay, Gemini, it's not about what the external world thinks. And it sort of seems like it's a week where you need to detach from the emotional drama around you. You might be thinking of taking a trip, actually. The way these cards look, you might be thinking of taking a trip because you want to reconnect with yourself in order to make a decision about something big that's going to involve a shift on an emotional and a mental level. Interesting. This is very interesting, Gemini. It seems like, you know, it's not a big surprise though, because Geminis since spring have been really trying to get something started that would shake up the status quo significantly. And so what I'm seeing right now is that there's, you know, and there's that Chariot, which represents Gemini, but it's in reverse. Or sorry, not the Chariot. That represents Cancer. You got two Cancer cards on the table. Sorry, not Gemini. Gemini has two Cancer cards here. So you could be dealing with a Cancer, or it could just be that kind of energy where you're dealing with choice and direction and alignment of purpose, right? And so it's very interesting, but there is a strong decision that you are hoping for, but also a little intimidated to make. This decision is going to involve you like needing to decipher things. You've got this level of indecision about an emotional outcome on this new path. And you're still resisting this new path, it looks like. You still feel like you need the people around you to be on board for this. But really it's just about you and you. You know, I see the Queen of Cups and the Chariot here in reverse, and it makes me think that you just need to be connected with yourself intuitively. And then align those misaligned energies. Because right now that Chariot in reverse is saying that like your energies are not aligned. You're of two minds. And you are of two minds. You're not sure which one to go for. But you know that you need to do something. Because there is an emotional sort of new beginning. And you've got to decide. Are you going to go for it or not? it's mental and emotional. It's almost like the mental part you can face, but the emotional part of it is the tricky part for you. Emotionally, you're not sure how to separate from what people think of you. And that is yet again the theme of your reading here. Something came in to spark out your imagination big time in the recent past. You had this huge imaginative burst, and you were like, I'm going to go for it. And the only thing really stopping you at the time is this idea that you just need more time and energy to devote to it. You don't have it because your energetic resources are split between too many things. And so it's like you can't devote yourself to these things that are in the air because you're still wrapping up these things. And so that's why it's nice to see the Ace of Pentacles, which suggests you're going to have a brand new start. But you need to heal from this last one. You need to get past what people think of you. And it's challenging. I think you put a lot of stock into this, or you have. And so that's why it feels so hard to make a decision about something that you're not sure how it will be received by the people around you. You're not sure how it's going to be received by the people around you, and you're letting that sort of hold you up, Gemini. You're letting that hold you up, and you're in a state of indecision. So it's time to balance out those energies. And maybe you need to be away. You might need to be away to do this. You might need to be in a different pond, you know, if you were. This King of Cups is always floating on the water of emotion and is able to ride the waves without getting too emotionally involved. And that's sort of where you want to be emotionally, and it's challenging for you. That is a tricky one for you because you're having a hard time with that. You're having a hard time connecting to your emotions in the first place. It's almost like you're too indifferent. Yes, thank you. Thank you. Sorry, I needed that clarified in my mind. It's almost like you're too emotionally indifferent and you actually need to connect more emotionally. But you're having a hard time connecting emotionally. Like I said earlier, connecting mentally is a little bit easier for you, even though right now you have a level of indecision that's making you uncomfortable energetically. It's like this is going to be a challenge on the emotional level because right now you're more comfortable sort of not tapping into emotion, but you need to. Does that make sense? I sort of ran around in circles saying that, but it's an interesting feeling inside reading these cards for you because it's like there's this really huge thing you want to do that's very imaginative, but you feel like you're just too overwhelmed or overtaxed to even think about doing it right now. And then when you do think about doing it in a serious way, you start to think, wow, what are people gonna think? People are gonna think this and that of me when I reveal this to them, right? And it's almost like you need to heal mentally from the idea that it matters what other people think first and then go for it. That's sort of what I'm getting here, is that there's a resistance on your part to face the truth that it's okay if people don't like what I'm doing, or if people don't agree with what I'm doing, and it's okay if they think I'm making a mistake, or if I don't even have to ask what their opinion is, but if people volunteer it to me and they tell me, oh, I think blah, 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 well, good for you. It's not your path. This is my path, right? Like it's sort of that energy, and it's like you don't even want to, you're too tired to do that. You're like, I don't even want to go down that road. But it's yet there is something you really want to do. You do want to go down that road. It's almost like you just keep telling yourself that because it's easier than starting this new path, right? It's a little bit easier than going for it, is just saying, oh, there's too many obstacles and everyone's going to think I've lost it if I do that. Instead of just accepting that, like, it's okay if not, like, and it's inevitable that not everyone's going to agree with you. We don't live in a world where there's just one perspective, right? You're going to find people that can support this idea, and you're going to find people that can't support this idea. But ultimately, all that matters is whether or not you can support this idea. Do you know what I mean, Gemini? Oh, Gemini. I hope this works out because, you know, I've been seeing it in the Gemini readings for so long. And even with some clients that are Gemini and I've read for them, it resonates. Like they have these great ideas, but it's just such a huge departure from what they're doing now that they fear the backlash from the external world. So let's get a final oracle card here for Gemini to see what Spirit says from the oracle perspective here. Regeneration. Yeah, you are healing. Like, look, you just need to let it happen. You need to actually let it heal. So you're regenerating from this last chapter that ended, that is exhausting you currently, the one right here. Sorry, there. Remember I said you need more self-care. So this is an end of a cycle and you're regenerating. So you need some time to actually regenerate. Remember, it's very similar to what I was saying for Taurus about needing to get that solar plex in better shape with those I can statements. For you, it's more of a concept of just sort of detaching from the external world so that this regeneration can happen. You need to just avoid the external world for a little while, withdraw. Sorry, avoid isn't a very positive word, I guess, but withdraw. Go into some introspection, some solitary introspection, get some time away and let this regeneration happen. Because man, you've got such a great idea in this Eight of Wands here. You've got such an imaginative, go for it attitude that it seems like it's something beautiful that wants to come through. A lot of your cards are blue. In color, Gemini, so you might want to tap into some blue colors this week. And you know, the blue is the throat chakra where you speak your truth, and it's also the third eye chakra where you look at your intuition. Two different shades of blue, but I feel blue for you this week, the color blue. And I think it's time to allow that regeneration to happen, Gemini. Just let it happen. I don't mean to sound trite when I say this, but really, who cares what the people around you think? Who cares? You know, who cares? You care maybe. And so that's why, I mean, I don't want to sound trite or dismissive, but you've got to, you know, you've got to do you. If the people around you don't understand that you've got to do what resonates for you, then that's a shame, because it would be nice to see you surrounded by people who are like, you go, Gemini, you just go and be yourself, and whatever happens, happens. You know, it's nice to be surrounded with people like that, or just sometimes don't surround yourself with anyone and just do what you want to do. You know, do what your imagination is guiding you to do. Spirit seems to be indicating that you're changing, you're regenerating, which is a form of healing, which I really like for you, because like I said, the Gemini readings since the spring have really shown that they're truly trying to heal from something that has got their inner story in a place that's out of alignment. Okay, Gemini? You got this. I believe in you. Not that you need me to believe in you. You need to believe in yourself. But I really, like I said, all these Gemini readings I've been doing, I believe in you, Gemini. And you're an air sign, okay? You're going to get it done. You're going to get it done, and it's going to be great, because you're capable of greatness. We all are. Okay, lovely. Thank you, Gemini. Okay, let's move on to Cancer. Cancer. Let's see what's going on for Cancer this week. I was going to say this month. This week of August 16 to the 22nd. So let's see what we have for messages for the week for Cancer. Sun, Moon, and Rising. What are my Cancer friends needing to hear? Ooh, as I said that, I saw the Two of Cups. There it is. Cancer energy. Let's see. We'll leave that Two of Cups at the bottom. All right. There we go. Oh boy, the moon, the chariot. So much action here. Luz, I hope you're here. Luz, you watching? Good. Okay. Two of Cups in reverse on the bottom of the deck. Okay, Cancer friends. Holy moly, is there a decision on your mind? Luz, I'm not making this up. You got the Chariot here, top of mind in reverse, which suggests that not only do you need to align your energies, but there may be a huge choice you need to make that involves travel and movement, okay? Travel and movement to align energy may be necessary here. This King of Cups represents Aquarius, and it's at the bottom of the deck, or bottom of the reading, moving the deck moving the reading forward. Sorry, why I keep saying deck. This card is moving the reading forward, and the King of Cups often suggests a need to travel. And I'm emphasizing that for someone in specific that's listening. And so it's very interesting that there's the King of Cups and the Chariot. So indecision about whether or not travel should be in the plan, okay? And whether or not to just be emotionally separated from the drama, so that if there's drama around you balancing your energies, then you need to just sort of be separate from it. I'm just like blowing away right now because whoo, it's very resonating here. Okay, now in the past, it seems that there was many options and that perhaps it was challenging to choose an option, Cancer. In the past, it might still be hard to choose an option, but in the past, it definitely was. And it was almost like that led you to where you are now. That emotional option that was in the past has led you to where you are now. And what's happening now is that you're having a difficult time. You're having a really difficult time understanding how to be self-sufficient and how to nurture yourself, because there are things hidden from you that only are in your intuition at this time. There are things that are hidden from you, okay? There are aspects of you that are changing. Cancer, this moon card is Pisces energy, and the Chariot is Cancer energy, okay? And so is the Two of Cups, which is on the bottom of the deck. So it's very interesting, very, very interesting to see all of this. It just really makes me think, Cancer, that your ability to be self-sufficient and nurturing yourself and to enrich your life is being challenged by this energy driving the reading, this King of Cups, but it's also being challenged by something hidden from you. Something that's going to change you. Okay, the moon card makes people uncomfortable because it's so mysterious. I personally love it because it's rich feminine energy that comes in to just scatter seeds everywhere and then watch them grow. But you have no idea what was planted. Do you know what I mean? Like the moon is not that kind of decisive energy. It's mysterious and it's intuitive and it's very mysterious. I mean, when you think about what the sun and the moon, what their roles are in our solar system, that gives you an idea about the meanings of those two cards. When you think about the moon is something that has always been a mystery to us, right? The moon doesn't take the same path every day like the sun does. It's got an orbit that's completely different. The moon goes through phases. The moon moves the water that's on Earth. The moon does all kinds of things that we don't understand, or most importantly, we can't see, right? Like the moon has effects that are invisible, but yet they're not invisible. Like we can't see it. We can't see the gravity that the moon has an impact here on Earth, but we see the water moving and we see the waves going up and down. But and it's just fascinating to me, the moon card, but it's very mysterious because you don't know. And notice that it's blues, purples, and it's very intuitive. it's a very intuitive time. And so it's almost like whatever's hidden from you that exists in your intuition right now is challenging you to do something in the physical world. And in order to get there, you need to align your energies with this intuition. There's the High Priestess, which is on the mind right now. And it's like you need to tap into that intuition. And so if tapping into the intuition is difficult, we need to start observing our day-to-day life and being more mindful of the day-to-day. And so this tells me that maybe taking walks in nature, getting good rest, eating good food, staying away from the TV too much, not allowing ourselves to be distracted, being more mindful and meditative about our day-to-day. So really paying attention instead of being distracted. Really paying attention to the day-to-day is going to help ground you, because your biggest question is, do I stay or do I go? 7 of Pentacles. And I mean, I'm sorry, it's just that I had just done a reading for someone who's a Cancer, and this was at the heart of their reading. So it's just, and I know she's listening right now. So it's just fascinating. It's the same message here. Do I stay or do I go? And the same advice. Listen to your intuition. Stay away from the emotional drama. And again, this card represents Aquarius. And balance thyself. This Chariot card represents you, Cancer, and balancing your energies is a challenge right now, and so is balancing your emotions. Balancing your emotions and your energies is the hardest thing for you right now, but what's behind that 2 of Cups I see is the Temperance card, so that suggests to be patient and allow for divine timing, to call out to Archangel Michael if you need any assistance, and to not worry too much about this feeling you have that it's like, can I really start again? That's the feeling that you have right now. Like in the past, you had a lot of emotional options and you made your way to where you are now. And now it's like you're closing out a chapter and you're like, can I go? God, can I start again? Can I actually start again? I'm so tired, right? But yes, I think that's the big question is, do I stay or do I go? And at the end of the day, you don't know. You don't know. You're indecisive. You don't know. You're trying to make a decision with your mind when really you need to make it with your intuition, not your mind. But you're trying. You're trying to make it with your mind. And I don't blame you. That's the way we always start to try to make decisions, is we try to do it with logic. But logic might not balance you out. Logic is not going to necessarily be the thing that helps you out here. So it's very interesting to see this for you, Cancer. Is it ever? Holy moly. I am blown away over here. But I really feel like we've got a solid understanding of what Cancer is sort of going through, where they're ending a chapter that started in the past. It was an emotional chapter, and now it's ending. And it's sort of like they don't know if they should they stay on this path or should they take the next path that comes. And really intuition is going to be what helps you with this. That and sort of getting your energies aligned and really trying to focus on the day-to-day again. Trying to focus on your day-to-day so that you are almost like not overthinking this. And instead of thinking about it too much, do what feels like the most virtuous, intuitive thing, right? That Justice card says to me that you're weighing out the pros and cons. You're trying to figure out what's right versus wrong. And that, I just feel like you might get some information there, but ultimately you're going to have to do what you think feels right. It's going to be what you feel is the right path for you. And I don't even like the word right and wrong or good or bad. I think the truth is it's going to be whatever option is in alignment with you. What is in alignment with you? That is going to be the thing that is going to serve you in the end. Whatever's in the alignment with you. Okay. And whatever is divinely timed for you too. There's only so much of this you can control. I think your big job right now is just to make the choice. Yang. Oh my God. Lose. Do you see this? I'm sorry, you guys. This is just too freaky deaky. I love when spirit does this. This is, this is for you, Luz. So yeah, you need to be more decisive. It's time to make a decision that's based on what? Your soul fire, yang, masculine energy. Use your spirit to make this decision. Okay? You need to make, yes, exactly, Luz, exactly. I know, I read you. I knew what you meant. Yeah, it's time to let the healing fire of your soul figure this out. Get out of your head, Cancer. It's not going to serve you. That isn't going to serve you. In order to align your energies, we need to tap into that masculine energy of decisive choice making based on whatever sets your soul on fire. Okay? Whatever makes you feel like you are embracing life fully. That is the choice. That is the choice for you, my friends. Lose! Can you believe it? Oh, this is going to be funny for people to listen to on the replay, because they're going to be like, who's Luz? Why is she yelling at this lady? I know, I don't think it can be any clearer either. I agree completely. Woo, I feel giddy. Okay, let's move on to Leo. Leo, this week is closing out the sun's time in Leo. August 22nd is the end of the cycle of Leo being in the sun, or the sun being in Leo, excuse me. And it's also the day that we have our full moon in Aquarius. Yes, I know, Luz. I'm laughing as well. Okay, so let's move on to Leo now, Leo, and happy birthday to any Leos listening that are celebrating a birthday today. And this is for your last week, August 16th to the 22nd, last week where the sun is in Leo. Let's see what messages we have for Leo. Okay. Okay, Leos. Let's see. We got Justice on the bottom of the deck for you, Leo. Okay. Now, what I can see for you, Leo, is that there is a truth that you are trying to accept honestly this week before you sort of can move forward, and you see that. And what's holding you back is just that it's emotionally not the outcome that you wanted. Okay? So I say that because we see the Nine of Cups in reverse over the Five of Swords. Okay? So there's something that you need to face, a truth, a mental truth, something that you need to accept or just face honestly before you can move forward. But it's hard for you to face it because it's not the emotional outcome that you desired. Okay? It's just not. It's not what you wanted. You're getting dealt a hand that you didn't want, right? It goes in opposition of the vision that you had created in your mind. So the vision that you created in your mind that you really wanted to see in front of your eyes, that seems to be the truth. That's not happening. And that you need to sort of start a new path of inspiration, because this other path has revealed itself to you that it's not going to move anywhere. That this truth here isn't going to get you closer. Like, once you face this truth, you're going to see that this isn't going to happen. This, whatever this was, it's like the emotional outcome that you were seeking isn't happening. You're destined for something greater, something that you couldn't have imagined, something that spirit is guiding you towards. So it's a very interesting final week in the sun for Leo, or the final week for the sun in Leo is going to be a time where Leo comes to terms with the fact that what they had sort of emotionally attached themselves to as an outcome, it's not happening that way. It's going to go a different way. But it looks like the way that it's going to go is going to be one that may at first involve a bit of a challenge, but ultimately it's going to be a very nice way to look into the future. It's going to be a time where Leos take this new raw energy from spirit and formulate a brand new path forward. So that is the good news, Leo. So I you know, although your emotional outcome doesn't look like it's going to be satisfied, doesn't look like you're going to get what you thought was the best outcome, looks like you're going to get something far greater than that. So it just might not have been what you thought. So that's why we see justice in reverse on the bottom of your deck, because it's not what you thought was the just outcome. In your mind, it was whatever this represents. And then you found out the truth about something and you're like, okay, I guess it's not going to be that way. You know, I guess I'm not going to get that outcome that I had desired. It's not going to go that way. It's just not happening. I'm not going to connect that vision to the external world. But you've got a very auspicious ace here suggesting that there's this new vision that you could work on, and that maybe this wasn't what it was cracked up to be anyway, because it's not divinely blessed. It's not timed right for you. But there is something new here that is. And it's like this justice card on the bottom of the deck is saying to you, you know, what you thought was good isn't. What you thought was bad isn't. What you thought was right isn't. What you thought was wrong isn't. It's like your whole system of evaluating things is going to get a revision, right? Like you're going to see that the way you've been trying to assess things has been judging things instead of assessing how much they resonate for you. It's been sort of a judgment, and now I feel like you're going to look at the future in a new way. Now, the trick of this is that you're going to have to sort of really focus on healing from that truth. That truth in the Five of Swords there needs time. In the Four of Swords here, it's the opposite. Like the Four of Swords comes before the Five. But the Four is a time where we heal from something before we accept a truth. But it looks like you're doing it in the other way around. You're going to accept a truth and then heal from it. So you're going to need some time to heal from this. And this is where you feel sort of like you want to heal from it, but you're scared to heal from it because you don't know what the future looks like without this being your biggest desire. This has been your emotional dream for a long time, and now it's changed. It's changed. It's changed, Leo. You've changed. I've been noticing that in all the Leo readings, that Leos have been going through a transformation that has mostly taken them through the emotions into spirit and seeing themselves in a whole new way. Seeing themselves in a whole new way. And it's been an interesting evolution to watch in the readings for Leos, and to see that it's really necessary for this time out. To time out before you start your new path. This new path that's already sort of coming in energetically with this Ace of Wands top of mind for you, Leo. Wow, very interesting. And it's funny because right now you're like, but I'm so stable. I already know who I am. And I think this is going to change. I think this is the thing that's going to change. Not only is your sort of desire for yourself going to change, but so are you. You're going to change. You're going to get to a place where not only are you feeling like you know who you are, but that you have confidence and you have security and a grounded identity. Right? Like it's very interesting. I really feel like you're starting a new chapter here, a new chapter. And the people in your life see you as sort of trusting the process, that you're going with the flow as much as you can, but that a little bit of healing is necessary. I can see that, but it's almost like the rest of, you know, the people around you, they just see you as being really like, wow, they're allowing this to happen. They understand that, you know, the timing of this is going to work out when it's the right time. It's interesting, Leo. I think you're having a moment here where you're starting to see that what you thought was going to be the ideal outcome is actually the right path for you. And that's going to take some time, and it's going to take some reflection, Leo, for you to accept that. But I think you do. I think this week you're going to spend some time reflecting on all of this and seeing that it's all part of the process, and that you're sort of ready to shed your skin a bit here. You're sort of ready to step into a new path that might be more emotionally fulfilling than what you had sort of planned for yourself, if that makes any sense. Okay, it's interesting. Now let's see what oracle messages we have for Leo. Again, happy birthday to any Leos listening. And I hope you enjoy your week with the sun. Orphaned. Yeah, there's something you've got to leave behind. Oh, sorry, I was in the wrong shot. There's something that's going to get orphaned. It's this idea, I think. It's this wish that you had. And notice that it's a 5. This orphaned card is a 5, just like this 5 of Swords. So it's very interesting, Leo. I think this is going to be a week where you leave something behind. You're going to face the truth about something, and you're going to leave it where it belongs in the past. You're going to leave it behind. You're going to orphan it. You're going to move past it. You're going to realize that you can't go forward on that path anymore, and that path won't bring you anything that's actually going to serve you. It's a moment. There's a pause here. You need to pause here and sort of allow that healing from this to take place. There is a healing that needs to take place from this so that you can step into the next phase of things clear. But I feel like something is going to be sacrificed, which is why we see the Hanged Man as well. The Hanged Man understands that everything is part of the process, including sacrifice. So it's like I really feel like you're going to be making a choice about something that's going to reverse the scenario here. Because, I also see Judgment and Justice in reverse here. So that's saying to me that this is going to feel like, it's almost like you're going to be asking yourself at first, before you can step into the new phase of this, you're going to be sort of thinking, why me? Why me? Why do I have to not have why do I not get the outcome I wanted? Why do I have to, and at first you might see it as settling. You might be like, why do I have to settle for less? But really, I feel like, Leo, you're going to get something so much greater than you had even planned for yourself, that it's going to be, worth it doesn't seem to even catch it all. It just seems to be like this week is going to be one where you almost have a change of heart about what the ideal outcome is for you. Yeah, you're going to have a change of heart about the ideal outcome, and it's going to involve facing something honestly. Interesting, Leo. Well, I hope it's a good week. And if it's not, try to see the lesson in the pain. That's always what I try to do when something happens that's unpleasant and uncomfortable and makes you feel sad emotionally. Instead of focusing on the sadness, try to focus on what it taught you, what it showed you. Try to look at it as a metaphor and less attached way, Okay, we're heading into the final 4. We're starting with our last earth sign of the day, Virgo. Virgo, what is the message for Virgo for August 16 to the 22nd? For Virgo. And if you've missed your sun sign, this video will be posted on Instagram TV and my YouTube channel shortly after we're done recording. Okay, so Virgo, let's see what's going on for you this week, August 16 to the 22nd for Virgo. Okay, Virgo. Very interesting cards. We got the Ace of Swords on the bottom of the deck. And one of my crystals just fell. Oh, I don't see which one it was. Anyway, okay, let's have a look here, Virgo. It looks like you are about to start a new path as well. Everyone is starting paths, ending and starting, ending and starting. Everyone is collectively, I'm telling you, collectively right now, we are all undergoing some big time transformations, and I feel like the transformative part happened in, you know, June, July, and now in August we're starting to begin the new path from the old ending. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like the ending closed off for a lot of us in like the beginning of summer, and now it's time to start the new path. And for you right now, Virgo, I can see that the new inspired path is being blocked by your ideas of whether or not you're enough, whether or not you have enough, whether or not the idea is enough. You're in a place of scarcity right now where you just feel so clingy. You're clinging so much so that you're not allowing this new path to actually get started, because you're focusing so much on this lack mentality that you've adopted somewhere along the lines. You feel this lack mentality has crept into your mind, and it's all because of this. There's a path you could be on right now, Virgo, where you're not necessarily being driven by your spirit. That could also be why the Ace of Rods is in reverse. You're sort of being driven by this part of yourself that is insatiable. It's the part of yourself that wants pleasure. It wants to avoid pain. It dismisses and dismantles things all the time that speak against pleasure. And you know, it's this fear of suffering mentality, the lack mentality and fear of suffering and pleasure seeking that is not limited to anything, because it's insatiable. Do you know what I mean? Like, the Devil card represents Capricorn, but it also represents this desire to be living in illusions, not taking off the mask, right? Like living in a state where we are pleasing and trying to satiate the ego. So we're making decisions about stuff from a perspective of the ego rather than a perspective of spirit and the higher self, right? It's a lower self drive. And the higher lower self, you can think of it as like, you know, your lower self avoids things like fear and pain, and it seeks things like pleasure, whereas your higher self is it avoids unaligned energy, and it avoids things that are illusions, and it taps into intuition and spirituality for support, things that are, you know, it's just different. It's just different. There's no comparison. There's no good or bad. It's just one is insatiable and one is satisfying to the inner being and gives you a sense of peace. This does not. This just keeps burning at you and tries to get your attention by any means necessary to just keep satisfying that part of you that is insatiable. And we all have that part. Now, top of mind for you is the fact that there is a cycle ending, and it ended in a way that didn't make you feel very secure. It was almost like you felt like the end of this cycle tired you out, which makes sense when I see the 10 of Wands as well as your final outcome. So it's like you're starting and ending a new cycle, and right now you need to realize that this new cycle is going to involve needing to tap into your intuition. that you can't just go based on what the external world is demanding of you, because you're starting to see the limits of the external world. And you're starting to understand that leveling up means challenges with the external world, and that you can't avoid betrayal and heartache from the external world. It's ever present. So it's like you need to sort of close your cup right now and just focus on yourself and spirit and connecting with your intuition, which you have reservations about connecting here. It's your hope and your fear to connect with your intuition, Virgo, because you are definitely ending a cycle that left you feeling exhausted and perhaps betrayed. And there may have been conflict and separation here in this cycle that left you just depleted and defeated and feeling like you're starting from square one. And it's almost like you're okay with starting from square one, but you need a minute. You need a minute before you can do it, because this did end in a way that you didn't expect. And you don't feel as secure as you used to. You are focused on the scarcity, the lack. You keep thinking about all of the things you are lacking instead of all of the gifts your intuition and spirit offer you. And so it's very interesting, Virgo. I think in the past, you saw that you couldn't hold the high ideals that you had, because something rocked you. There was a betrayal here. There was something that shook you, and a major sort of committed situation ended up revealing itself to you to be false. And it shocked you. It shocked you and it left you feeling like this. I love this card because it's just, you just look at it and you know what it means. It left you feeling like this, like someone took 3 swords and intentionally stabbed you in the heart. Right? Like just awful. And now you're at the end of that cycle and you're like, I don't think I can do this again. And there's a part of you that doubts that, because you're like, every time I go into the external world to try to create something, I'm met with challenge after challenge after challenge. But I think it's just a matter of you maybe tapping into that inner guidance, Virgo, because I feel like you are starting something new, and it's going to be something very inspired, something that is from spirit. And it may involve some struggle. It may involve some leveling up in terms of your intuitive abilities. But I think the High Priestess is here to guide you through that. So if you need support, you just have to sort of tap in and ask and receive, right? It's very interesting reading for you, Virgo. Virgos have been going through sort of a period where they at first weren't really able to accept the changes ahead of them, and now it feels like they've accepted them, and they feel so mentally sort of broken by what they saw. And it didn't leave them in a place where they feel like they have a strong footing to start again. Let's see what the oracle cards say for Virgo, Sun, Moon, and Rising positions with respect to this new inspired beginning that is coming potentially from an ending that was unexpected. To the sea. Yeah, it's time to start with intuition. To the sea you must go. So this card always means to me that it's time to head into the emotions and the intuition and to discover a new land. So it's like time to go to the sea to discover that. And there is this beautiful concept in this card where the direction is being guided by spirit. I don't know if you can see in the camera here, there's a face in the clouds. And this card is a 7. And so that really says it's about a choice. You've got to choose what you're going to use as your direction. And what sea are you going to go into, right? Like this is choice time. You are starting a new path. So it's almost time to choose the way you're going to travel. And are you going to travel over the sea? Are you going to travel on a boat in the sea? Are you going to take a plane? Like, how are you going to get to the mouth of this new path? Are you going to use physical effort, or are you going to use your intuition? What are the elements that are going to help you get to this new beginning? But there is a new beginning here, for sure. I feel like you're just at the point of sort of deciding whether or not and how you're going to go about it. And I feel like this reading is suggesting that you should tap into spirit to understand that, and that it is time to get some physical and emotional distance from something that was not pleasant. That's the other thing that comes up for me with this card, is that you need to get in. It's almost like the Six of Swords. If you can picture that card as a card where someone's in a boat and they're leaving the shorelines. They're leaving. They need to get some mental distance from something that has caused them to see the truth about something. So it's time for you as well, Virgo. You need to get in the boat and off to sea you go. And you can decide what are you going to use as your guide when you're starting this new path. Are you going to use the ego, which is insatiable? Or are you going to use your intuition, which will always guide you towards your highest good, even if it's a challenging path? Whereas the ego will never guide you towards something too challenging, because it doesn't like to suffer. It just wants to feel pleasure. So it's up to you which one. But you're going to go. You're going. But who's going to sell you the ticket? Who's your guide? Intuition or ego? And I don't got no problem with the ego, but I don't let it drive. I don't let the ego drive too often. Maybe now and then. But man, get that intuition behind the wheel, and you're going to go to sea and experience all kinds of things. The ego, all you're going to experience is pleasure. You're going to avoid pain, right? The ego doesn't want to suffer. But your higher self knows that challenge creates change. Conflict is necessary sometimes for you to learn a lesson. Sometimes, right? We evolve through some stuff that's not pleasant, but it evolves us, it changes us, and it prepares us for new things. Very interesting, Virgo. We'll see what happens for you this week, but I think you're going to have a week where contemplation is probably the best thing, and meditation, and no action. I would suggest not taking action this week, Virgo. I would suggest you need to tap into your intuition before you make any major decisions or take any major courses of action, right? Like it might not be the week for that. It might be the week to look at things from a different perspective. Try looking at it from a different hole in the Swiss cheese, as I always say. Look at the picture through a different peephole. You keep looking through one hole. Try a different hole. Maybe that hole will show you something else, and then try that hole and this hole and that one and this one and this one. You know what I mean? And try and get as much of that picture as you can. Looking at a picture by one perspective only is very, very limited. It's not wrong. It's not right or wrong. There is no right or wrong. You can look at the picture however you want. But ultimately, if you can see more of it, I feel like you're giving yourself more of a chance. Okay, we are going to talk about Libra now. Sorry, I'm going to shuffle again because I was still thinking about Virgo. Okay, Libra. How you doing, Libra? I have a lot of lovely Libras in my life. And my North Node is in Libra. Like I was saying earlier, that once you have your chart in front of you, you can see that we're all in this together, you guys. We're all in the same boat, in the sense that like we all have placements all over the place. So sometimes it's interesting to listen to other signs as well, if you know where your placements are. Okay, Libra, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Let's see what the messages are for Libra for August 16 to the 22nd for Libra. Okay, oh, Libra. It's a big week for you too. You know, it's a big week for all the signs. I shouldn't say that. Okay, we got the Knight of Swords on the bottom of the deck here for Libra. Okay, my Libra friends, final air sign of the day. What I can see here for you is that you also are finishing off a cycle. Very similar. Like I said, we're all collectively going through very similar experiences, just from different aspects potentially. But you're closing out a cycle this week and starting something new. And top of mind for you right now is that you need time to reflect. You need time to reflect in solitude, because you're transforming and you need to prepare for the transformation. And I feel like you're challenged to do that. You're not challenged to do this. You're all about keeping to yourself right now, Libra. You want the more solitude, the better for you right now. You're okay hanging out by yourself right now and not hiding. You're still being very reflective about everything. However, you're resisting change. It's like you're trying to force things in the current to change instead of the current changing. Does that make sense? Like, it's almost like you're like, oh, I'm okay with change, but it has to be under these circumstances. And you're trying to pick an option here for yourself, but it's very emotional for you, because it's almost like you're you know, true to being a Libra, you're feeling indecisive. You're having a hard time making a decision because of emotion. Emotion is creating a difficulty here for you in making a decision on how to go forward. But you can feel it. You can tell that you've closed out a cycle and that you're starting a new one. And I say that with confidence, because I see this Ten of Wands here, but it's in reverse. So it's like, you're not letting the cycle end. But the truth is, my dear Libra, it's going to end. Now, I'm going to flip them for you so you can see. We've got the Ten of Wands, and it's crossed by the Tower in reverse. Okay, so what that says to me, Libra, is that this cycle is ending, and you can see the end in sight. But you're like, if this ends, then I know what's coming next. And I don't want it. I don't want to do what will happen at the end of this cycle is a new one beginning. And I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then there's the Tower in reverse crossing it, which suggests that your inability or your lack of enthusiasm or lack of intention to accept change and to see the truth behind why this cycle has to end is holding you back. So the thing holding you back, Libra, is that you're not willing to see why this cycle is so important for it to end. It's so important for this process to be finished. You're done with whatever this is. It no longer serves you. And so the universe has come to clear it away. And you're hanging on to it, and you don't want to let go of it, because you're like, well, if I don't have that anymore, then I don't know who I am. You know, your identity feels like it's up in the air, and it's almost like you're like, I don't know how I'll feel about that. I don't know how I'm going to feel if this situation actually comes to an end. It's the feelings. You're worried about the feelings that you will have. I think you think you're worried about it. You're worried, what if I choose wrong? What if I choose the wrong thing and then I suffer, right? We come back to that fear of suffering. Fear of suffering, fear of anything being unpleasant, right? It's this fear that keeps us in situations that maybe have reached their natural conclusion. This is a situation that has reached a natural conclusion, and it's like this inability to accept that this situation has reached a natural conclusion, even though you have reflected on it so much. You're denying it. It's like you're denying yourself something that you know is right for you, because you're like, I can't let this end. I can't let this cycle end, because if it ends, then what lies ahead isn't an outcome that I don't know how to get to that outcome. It's like you're trying to imagine the outcome to something that you couldn't possibly imagine. So you're denying yourself something because of that. This is a card of denying oneself the intuitive and sort of spiritual aspect of themselves. You're denying yourself something here, Libra, and it's because you don't know how to emotionally go forward in this new world. This is going to be an emotional roller coaster for you once it happens. Once this cycle ends, once the tower sweeps away into the ocean, once all those illusions and things that you were denying yourself fall away, you're like, I won't know what to do on an emotional level. That's what you think. That's how you're feeling. And you're worried that you won't be able to start over. You're worried that you will never get yourself to square one again, right? The Three of Pentacles is a time where you meet the initial completion of something, and it's like you're afraid that you'll never be able to get to an initial completion again. There's this feeling inside of you that this chapter coming is going to be, like once this ends, that the next one is going to be bad. But I don't think so, because your final outcome card is the Wheel of Fortune. So I think once you go through this, you're going to look back and say, that wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. That wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be. I can hear you saying it, Libra. And at the bottom of the deck, we see the Knight of Swords, which says, hey, start preparing for this new life pattern change. Get ready for it, because it's happening, and it's in reverse, because you're like, no, I'm not going to get ready for a life pattern change because I don't want one. I do, but I don't want the end of this because I don't want to lose anything. I think you feel like you're going to have emotional losses if you allow this change to happen, but you have to get ready for it. It's happening. The Tower card is an energy where the universe just comes in and sweeps out all the stuff that no longer serves you, and you just have to accept it. We've all been in situations like that, right? We've all had moments in our lives where we're like, we didn't see that coming, or we thought that this was true, and then you realize it's not true, and then you have to let it go. And that's the energy of these two cards, is that, like, get ready for a life pattern change, because the pattern that you're in now is ending, and it's no longer serving you. It's just not connected to you anymore. You're not connected to it. It's not connected to you. There's no reason to get all judgy about why and try and understand that. It looks like you've done that homework. You've already sat with it and evaluated it. But at the end of your evaluation, you came up with a place and you said to yourself, if this cycle ends, then I'm going to be lost. I'm not going to know where to start. And so as a result, you're denying yourself that new beginning. You're denying yourself that new beginning because you don't want to. It's like if you face spirit, you're going to have to answer spirit. So it's like, you know, when God presents you a path, you can't question it. You either take it or you don't. But you can't question God to say, why did you bring me what I desire, but in this way? Right? I mean, you can ask all you want. You go ahead. But I think what you'll find is that whatever's brought to you is brought to teach you something. It's brought to you for a reason, a very unique reason that will really probably only make sense to you, but it will be profound. And it is fortuitous. Like, I mean, sometimes we are led down the path of something difficult to land in something so wonderful that you never would have seen the connection. And I sort of feel like that's what's happening here. You know, I feel like that's what's happening here for you, Libra. It's almost like the situation of someone who, you know, loses their job and has to move. And then all of a sudden they move and they meet the love of their life next door and they get the job of their dreams. You know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of thing where when the forest fire is happening and you're just looking at the fire, all you see are the flames and the waves and the lightning bolts. You don't see the fortuitous ending. at the end of that, right? All you can focus on is how painful and unpleasant it is right now. But what is it all leading to? And what is this ending going to create a beginning for? That's sort of what I'm getting for you here, Libra. It's very interesting. I think you're heading into something that you're resisting. But I feel like the guidance for you is to go with the flow. And that was what the messaging was for your reading last week on my YouTube channel. The final oracle card you got was go with the flow. And I had been saying it in the reading over and over again. And then it showed up as your oracle card. Now, we're going to use a different oracle deck right now, but than that reading. But I think it's the same message. Is just go with the flow. Go with that flow, Libra, and try to stop controlling the outcomes because you don't understand that, you know, you might not even be able to imagine what this could bring in. Okay, Libra. Poised. Someone else got poised today. You were poised. You were on the brink of a huge life change that you're sort of resisting. And it's going to bring in a lot of truth that you're resisting. And it's going to connect you closer to spirit, which you're resisting. So you're resisting all over the map here. So it's time to go with the flow, Libra. Go with the flow and stop trying to control things. You are poised for something beautiful that you can't even imagine. It's exactly like I was saying, like out of all of these circumstances that seem like losses, you could be walking right into the greatest time of your life and you just might not notice. You might not notice it because it doesn't look like that while things are ending. During the ending portion of things, during this moment, it looks like an apocalypse, right? Like it's lightning and fire and waves and this tower falling and it's very dramatic. But then, you know, then you're on top of this wheel having a glass of champagne with a king and queen here and you're just laughing at, thank God that chapter ended and look where I'm headed now, right? Like sometimes we just have to have faith in the universe a little bit, and I think you've lost a little bit of that. You're looking at the world very three-dimensionally right now instead of believing that miracles are possible and that they happen every day and that you could very well experience your own miracle here. And I feel like you're being led kicking and screaming down a path. It's really interesting, Libra. The images in my mind right now are of literally someone dragging you. It's like spirits dragging you, kicking and screaming, and you're like, no, no. And then it's going to dump you somewhere, and you're going to be like, oh, okay, thanks. You know what I mean? Oh, Libra. I love you, Libra. Go with the flow, okay? That's your message for the week again. That was your message on my YouTube channel last week, and I think it continues this week. Okay, now let's move on to Scorpio, our final water sign for the day. Scorpio. Let's see what's going on for Scorpios this week coming up, August 16 to the 22nd. Scorpio. Oops. Okay, Scorpio, let's get started and see what messages we have for Scorpio. Okay. Wow, lots of Libra cards in your reading right now. I don't know if there's a Scorpio listening. That the Fool on the bottom here. Lots of Libra energy all over the place. You got Justice, Queen of Swords, and the Six of Pentacles, which are all Libra, Libra, Libra. Or excuse me, the Six of Pentacles is Aquarius. But still, you got the Two of Swords, which is Libra. You got 3 Libra cards here. What's going on? Are you heavily involved with a Libra? My Scorpio listening? Okay, what's going on here for you? What's going on here for you is that you're very flexible this week about who you are. And it's because you can't decide what's good or bad. You can't decide what outcome is good or bad. You can't decide, oh boy, you are in a place of seriously feeling upside down about outcomes and relationships and emotion and definition, self-limiting beliefs maybe, but beliefs about the self for sure. Oh boy, this is an interesting set of cards. Everything is in reverse. Every single thing is in reverse except the Two of Swords in the past and the Fool on the bottom of the deck. Scorpio, you are having a week of uncertainty. Okay, that's putting it lightly, but you're having a week of uncertainty. Okay, that is like honestly what I'm feeling here is it's a week of uncertainty where you're challenged. You're feeling challenged to understand yourself because there's been an emotional situation that sort of came to a conclusion in a way that you did not anticipate. There is an emotional end here to something that you did not anticipate ever coming to this. And you don't feel like it's fair, and you don't feel like, you almost feel like karma got it wrong. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like you feel like karma got it wrong and you can't get your head wrapped around this. And it's really causing a disruption in your daily life. And people around you see that you're out of balance with this in the physical world. Like you're feeling out of sorts and out of balance. Like you almost feel like it was a sacrifice that you made, or that you are currently, you are sacrificing yourself, that there was a relationship where you felt taken advantage of almost here. And your hopes and fears revolve around the fact that you're sort of worried that you won't actually be able to be self-sufficient. This is almost like a Scorpio now. You know what I'm feeling here? It's interesting. I don't know too many Scorpios personally. And so it's funny to read blind like this a little bit. But it's like, it feels like whoever is listening that's a Scorpio. And that's why I mentioned I don't know any Scorpios personally. So I don't know if any of my followers are Scorpios that are listening, but I don't have a lot of friends that are Scorpios. It almost feels like a relationship is coming to an end here. And you're wondering if you can be self-sufficient and how to move forward after sacrificing so much for this person. You made a decision in the past. Okay, Scorpio, you made a decision in the past, and it's leading you to a brand new path here where you have to take a leap of faith. But in between the past and the future, we have got a whole bunch of situations here that suggest that you were in a relationship that you thought was very committed. And then that relationship revealed itself to you to not be what you thought. It was in challenge the whole time. It wasn't as secure as you thought it was. It didn't end up being what you thought. And that left you questioning your ideals because you were like almost too hard on yourself and saying, how could I let myself be in a relationship like that? And so then you sort of put the judgy lens on and you judged yourself as being inadequate or not able to see like the whole truth about a situation, and that you went in, maybe you judged yourself for this situation though, this choice you made to enter into this relationship, because there was stuff you didn't see. There were things that were hidden from you, but you went for it, and now you're judging yourself and you're almost saying, why me? And the world's not fair, and that's not a fair outcome. And it's like karma didn't take care of this the way I thought it would. And now you're sort of feeling like you can't face the day-to-day. You're having a really hard time facing and accepting this situation, and you feel like it's not fair, and you sacrifice so much for this person or this relationship, and now it's just over. Inexplicably it just ends, and you're left wondering if you can be self-sufficient and where you should go next. And you need to take a leap of faith. So you're not really necessarily going to know exactly where you need to go next. But that's the question on your mind is, do I stay or do I go? And the answer is, I don't have a hot clue. Right? I don't have a hot clue. This is so challenging. I have no idea, because I was so sure. I was so sure about something, and then it turned out that I was completely wrong. You know, you were very attached to an outcome in a relationship, and it didn't turn out the way you thought it would. But when you made the decision, Scorpio, there were things you didn't know. There were factors you weren't aware of. So don't be too hard on yourself. Take that leap of faith. Take the leap of faith into the future here. You deserve it. Why not? You know, we all enter into relationships that sometimes end up surprising us in the end. But like I was just saying for Libra, sometimes those surprises at the end up teaching you something remarkable about yourself. And I think what you learned about yourself in this situation is to not sacrifice who you are ever again, and to stay outside of a codependent scenario. Like when I see these two cards together, I feel like saying you were in a situation that was codependent. And now that it's over, of course you don't know who you are. And of course you've lost your grounding about who you are and your ideals. Like to see these two queens in reverse says that you've lost faith in your ability to be self-sufficient, and you've lost faith in your ideals about yourself. So whatever this was, it rocked you. It rocked you, and you're being really, really hard on yourself right now and not allowing sort of the guidance of your inner guidance to help you take this leap of faith onto the next path. This was divinely timed, Scorpio. Don't be too hard on yourself. You know, we have free will and we can make choices about things, of course, but ultimately if it's not part of the, like if it's not universal law, it will not succeed. It just won't, right? And it's not about good or bad, because a lot of things that we judge in this world to be bad, quote unquote, succeed, right? We see it all the time and we feel like it's such an injustice, but we don't know what those things are supposed to, or what they will bring us in the end. We have a tendency as human beings to only look at a situation in the moment and judge it. We judge it in the moment that it's happening, and we judge it as being good or bad, or virtuous or not virtuous. And then we don't wait to see the outcome of what the consequence of that action actually is. And I feel like right now that's what's happening for you and Libra to a certain extent, but for you for sure, in the sense that you're judging yourself based on an outcome that wasn't pleasant, and you're assuming that that means that's it, that there could be no path forward for you out of this. You know what I mean? Like we have a tendency to do that when things don't go the way that we think that they should. We catastrophize, you know, we figure that, well, if it failed here, then I must be whatever, insert in the blank all the words that you would call yourself when things don't work out the way you think they're going to. We were very good as human beings as like putting ourselves down in situations that really might have been, I always like to think of rejection as redirection. Now, you know what I mean? Like it took me some time to get there, but if something doesn't want me, or if something rejects me, then it wasn't meant for me. So don't chase it. Don't feel so judgy against yourself for it not working out. Maybe it wasn't meant for you. Do you know what I mean? Or maybe it was only meant for you for that time period so that you would learn something and move forward, changed, right? It's hard to take things just at face value, guys, right? Like it's tricky. If we take things just at face value and then judge them in the moment that they happen in, then I don't know. It just seems short-sighted to me. It's sort of like if you were an eagle flying in the sky over a forest fire, would you stop as the eagle and just focus on the fire and say, oh wow, they're really screwed down there and I have nowhere to land? No, you'd look ahead. You'd look ahead to the vistas that don't contain smoke and fire, and you would be like, oh, it's going to be fine. You know what I mean? I can see that this won't last forever, and that once it's done, there will be a new forest potentially. And I'm just using an example. It's not like I love the idea of forest fires, but I'm just saying that like sometimes we judge things in the moment before we allow the universe to finish the story. We're just at the middle of the movie. If you pause and stop the movie in the middle when everything is shit, then you never see the end. You don't see that it wasn't shit to begin with. It was transition. You know what I mean? So it's important to keep that faith. Take a leap of faith out of this, Scorpio. Whatever this was not meant for you, and it ended for good reason. And I think it taught you about self-sacrifice. It taught you about codependency, and it taught you about like it's sacrifice of you, the true you. It taught you never to sacrifice yourself. And it taught you to always make sure that you're in a relationship that's like not terribly codependent, that you are self-sufficient to a large degree, and that you need to stay that way. Right? Interesting. And it may have also taught you something about the emotional investment you place in situations. You know, it's interesting. It's not going to resonate for everyone, but let's see what the oracle message is here for Scorpio. Okay, Scorpio. By the book, card number 11. Yeah, so that tells me that, you know, you've got to write a new book here. You've got to take a leap of faith and write a brand new book here. You can't go by the old book anymore. That book is done. You finished it. It's over. 10 of Cups. It's a finished cycle that's renewing itself. It's a 10. So it's done. Stop beating yourself up about this. Get a new book to go by and move forward. Take a leap of faith. By the book is really a card that talks about the conventionality, the way we do things. Are you going to go by convention, or are you going to go, like, are you going to go by the book, quote unquote? And what book, right? Whose convention, right? You've got to decide. So, you know, you've got to use your inner guidance system to decide what you're going to do here. And the card you got in your final guidance was the 7 of Pentacles, which is a decision that you have to make about, do you stay or do you go? Are you going to stay on this path that you're on now, or are you going to take a leap of faith onto a path that you know, you only see the step appear once you've put your foot out, right? It's that kind of road. It's the kind of road that you rely on divine timing and your intuition to guide you down this path, because you're a fool. You're just discovering things like a new baby would. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've wiped the slate clean when you're the fool. And I love that that was on the bottom of your deck, because the fool is all about, it's all about self-discovery. It's about discovering yourself again. Right? The process of rediscovering ourselves again, which is the whole point of life, is to keep rediscovering ourselves. It is to keep experiencing things and finishing those experiences and starting new experiences. But in between, understanding the wisdom that each experience taught us. And I think that's where you're at right now, is that you're trying to understand the wisdom that this experience taught you. And you're having a difficult time with it because you're judging yourself. You're being a bit hard on yourself right now, Scorpio, and it's not serving you. It's time to take a leap of faith and keep going. Just keep moving, Libra, or Scorpio. I feel like there's a Libra involved. You got 3 Libra cards here. So Scorpio might have been dealing with a Libra. We'll see. Only you know, I guess. What is the 10 of Cups? The 10 of Cups is a Pisces. So it could also have been a Pisces maybe involved. It's very interesting. Very, very interesting. Okay, you guys, last reading for the day is for Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising. Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, and Rising for the week of August 16 to the 22nd. Let's see what messages we have for Sagittarius. Bearing in mind, again, there is a full moon on August 22nd, and it's in Aquarius again. Okay, let's see what messages we have for Sagittarius for our last messages for the week today. Choice, choice, choice. Oh boy, lots of choices. Okay, yeah, you know, like I keep saying, it's the whole collective, the human collective, is undergoing so many transformations and things beginning and ending and options. Oh, it's so fascinating. 4 of Pentacles on the bottom of the deck here, which suggests we'll get there. But okay, Sagittarius, here we go. Let's see what's happening for you. I just took a sip of water. Okay, Sag, you're trying to plan out your future. It's simple. You're trying to plan out your future, and there's too many options. So you're just going to go to sleep instead, right? That's what's happening. This is very clear. Sagittarius, you are having a heck of a time because of all of the options. You're desperately trying to plan your future, but you find that it's just met with challenge after challenge because there are too many emotional options. There are too many emotional options, and you're going to see very soon, you're going to see that the only real option is to believe in yourself. And then suddenly these won't feel so emotional. Now, the reason I said, so these are all emotional and you just go to sleep, is because the Hermit card is here. And so that's why I say that, is that Sagittarius right now, as you're examining these options, that you're just like, you know what? I'm just going to order in and go to bed because this is overwhelming. Emotionally, this is just too, Monet's laughing. Yeah, this is just emotionally too overwhelming. So I'm just gonna hang out and go to sleep, okay? I'll see you guys later. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There is nothing wrong with that, because while you're sleeping, while you're in the nest, if you will, you're trying to figure out these emotions. You are, you know, and it's going to help you eventually to, if we work backwards, it's going to help you formulate the path to this future. Because right now, if it's too emotionally overwhelming, it's not the time to make a choice then. So you're doing the right thing. Not right, wrong, but you're doing what is in alignment with yourself, Sagittarius, because it's not the time to make a choice. You're overwhelmed emotionally right now. So don't put too much pressure on yourself to make any choices right now. You've already made a lot of big choices in the past. Okay, the Lovers in the past here is Gemini energy. And this is a card that suggests you've been balanced in the energetic aspects before, and you will be again. You have been. You made choices to balance out in the past, and you'll be able to do it again. It's just that right now you're at a place where you've sort of dissociated yourself from spirit. You're living in an illusion, and it's causing karma to sort of be flipped upside down right now. Or it could be the opposite for you. You could feel that because karma is so working, you feel like the universe is working against you. As a result, that's what's causing you to live in illusion, right? It's not going to be the same because this is a general reading, but when I see these two cards in this position, like where the Devil reversed is up top on the forefront of your mind, and the Judgment in reverse is sort of the subconscious root of the issue, that tells me that the root of the issue lies in the fact that you feel like you've sort of been dealt an unfair hand, and as a result, you're managing that hand that you were dealt in a way that doesn't acknowledge the spiritual sort of opportunity that lies within that challenge. Does that make sense? I was reading in a book the other day. I've been reading so many books about all of this because I'm going through this significantly myself right now, where you're trying to understand the challenges of your life and what they are trying to teach you. But because obviously the challenges will trigger either emotion or some sort of trauma, it'll trigger something, there is the tendency for us to deny that experience and just ignore it. Do you know what I mean? Because when we ignore it, it's just a little bit more pleasant for a little bit of time until it creeps up again. But it's sort of a moment where you've got to really look at the truth behind the truth, right? You got to be honest with yourself. Is that, am I denying myself an experience, or am I denying myself something that feels destined because I'm afraid of blank, or because, I'm uncertain of blank, or I fear blank? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's that kind of mood when you see the Devil in reverse top of mind. It's a situation where you're gripping that mask to your face so hard because you're like, if I take this off, then I don't know what the hell's going to happen, because the whole world seems to be in a place right now where I can't make a decision about where to go forward. And your action towards that is to, you've actually started to withdraw from people, and you're starting to even question some of the relationships that are the closest to you. And Sagittarius, I am telling you, this is happening because you're leveling up. You're leveling up. So not every relationship is going to be able to come along with you. It's not. But you've got to be careful what you're saying to yourself, because if you keep telling yourself that you're not enough, and that the world isn't enough, and that you can't have what you want, and you can't access the resources you have now because you'll never get them back again, that kind of language, you're bringing in a world of manifestation of your worries. This is on these two are on the bottom of your deck. So if your messaging to yourself is that I'm not enough and I don't have enough, so I can't share, and this is mine and that's yours, and I can't give you any of mine because if I give you some of mine, I'll never get this back because that's the way the world works. That is the energy you're bringing into yourself, is that I read somewhere that the way we look at money, your beliefs about money are actually your beliefs about the universe. So if you believe that money is something that you have to work hard for all the time, and that it's scarce, and that it doesn't, you can't have access to it, and that once you spend your money, that's it, it's gone, then that is going to be how you see the world, and that is going to be the way that you perceive opportunities in life. And I feel like that could be happening for you right now, Sag. I feel like you could be sort of in the place where your narrative isn't supporting you to grow. Your narrative is holding you back to some degree because of the way you're talking to yourself about the future. I feel like that for you. However, now, this is very exciting. These last two cards are very exciting. So this is your hopes and fears, which suggests that your hope and your fear is the union with someone, okay? And starting a new relationship with someone, or with yourself potentially, renewal, reconciliation, the beginning of a new emotion terrifies you. You want it, but it's very scary. Now, the final outcome for you is the Five of Pentacles, but in reverse, which is nice to see because that suggests a turn in a reverse of fortune. That instead of feeling like you're out in the cold, suffering and bleeding all over the place, you're actually going to feel like, you know what? This is good. I'm awesome. And I know exactly what to do now. You know what I mean? It's interesting because upright, this card suggests that you don't know what to do, and that you're missing the fact that there's a really warm church right behind you with the lights on and the fires burning, and there's people in there who know how to handle bandaging and wounds and whatnot. And it's like you need to sort of see that there is that aspect behind you. That's the truth. It's in reverse. So that says to me that you have started to see the path. You started to see that there is resources that you can tap into. And you're starting to understand that something that you hold today could multiply tomorrow. Doesn't necessarily mean that just because you have it today, it's not here today, gone tomorrow. Do you know what I mean? You're in this card in reverse, you're starting to see the prosperous outcome instead of perceiving setback after setback, loss after loss. You're starting to see that there could be supports and resources all over the place that you just didn't realize because you kept telling yourself the world is scarce. There is not enough for everyone. So it's almost like when you start changing that dialogue, you're going to start perceiving the world differently. And I feel like that could bring in a new relationship for you, Sagittarius. This is very interesting. Sagittarius. I have Sagittarius placements, so this is resonating for me. I have Sagittarius ascending. My rising is in Sag. So So it's how I express myself outwardly. And this definitely makes sense. I mean, and careful about these relationships. I've been feeling this, like certain relationships in your life may no longer be serving you, and that could have you feeling funny and not super awesome. But you know what? It's okay. You can look at this and make evaluations about whether or not relationships are serving you. Just be kind and compassionate to yourself and the people in these relationships with you, because they brought you to this place where you are now. And if they no longer serve you, that's okay. But you know, remembering to be kind and compassionate as we move forward, making decisions about things is important. If you're quick to anger, you're quick to manipulate. Never forget that. Okay, let's see what the oracle cards have to say here for Sagittarius to close out this reading. Is blessed. Yeah, Sagittarius, you've got this. I really feel like you've got this, and you are blessed and you are being divinely guided. I feel like I want to pull one more for you here. Time for a nap. Exactly. Sagittarius, do you see that? I'm not making this up. You are blessed. Don't overthink it. Get some rest. Relax. Withdraw from the external world so that you can process all of these emotional outcomes that are a little overwhelming, and things are going to turn around for you. Don't deny spirit. Let spirit back in. You are blessed. So, you know, this is a good time to sort of start your spiritual practices again and to stop denying yourself the truth. Oops. Don't live in illusion. You can if you want to, but I mean, it's not going to serve you at this time. So it seems like your guidance this week is to not take too many decisions and to just do some more evaluation and hermit up in your nest and take a nap. Okay? So your guidance this week is that you are blessed. There is divine timing. The universe is supporting you, even if you don't feel like it is right now, and that you can just go ahead and relax, take a rest, and just get connected to yourself again. Get connected to spirit again. This is beautiful. I think I even said this earlier, that you need to just take a nap, and that's what you've been doing. So you're listening to yourself and you're doing the self-care you need right now, Sagittarius. This is fascinating. Wow. Holy moly, these have been some pretty powerful messages of the week coming up for August 16th to the 22nd. Very nice. Well, we're done, you guys. Thank you so much for those of you who joined me. Now, this reading will be on Instagram and on my YouTube channel very soon with the timestamps so that you can find your reading for your sun, moon, and rising positions. And if you know your other astrological placements, it's always helpful to sort of get as much of a full picture as you can, if you're interested, that is. And if you would like a more in-depth reading, you can always email me for a personal reading. My information is in my bio. And I always love hearing from you guys. So feel free to reach out on Instagram, on my YouTube channel, or through my email. Okay, sending you guys lots of love and light this week. Have an excellent week. Remember, there is a full moon in Aquarius on August the 22nd. I think I'm going to do some readings for that that moon, that full moon. So you can watch out for those on my YouTube channel. Okay, thank you so much for joining me, you guys. We'll see you again next Sunday at noon on Instagram Live for the messages for the week. Okay, take care, everyone.